is #1 on television, now soon on digital this July.
All right, that was 101st episode of Prime Minister's Fireside Chat, Man Ki Baat, in which, as always, all-encompassing conversation that the Prime Minister had with the people of the country, speaking about personalities that included Veer Savarkar, whose birth anniversary we mark today, and N.T. Ramarao, the Telugu stalwart leader, and Sant Kabir. Apart from that, he spoke of some youth startups focusing on water conservation. And then he, in fact, spoke to two youngsters, one from Arunachal and one from Bihar, on the experience they had traveling across the country as part of a youth conclave. On that note, let's come back to the story that we are covering today, the big event, the momentous occasion, which is dedication and inauguration of the new parliament building to the nation by the Prime Minister, the formal ceremony for which is to happen just in a few minutes from now, perhaps, as the dignitaries gather in the Lok Sabha chamber of the new parliament building, and the religious ceremony, the consecration of the Sengol and its placement inside the Lok Sabha chamber, which happened in the morning, again by the Prime Minister. On that note, in fact, I am joined by Dr. Padma Subramaniam, artist, dancer, who for the first time perhaps wrote to the Prime Minister, bringing the Sengol issue center stage to the notice of the Prime Minister. Very good morning to you, Ms. Subramaniam. The fact that you, in fact, in many ways began this story which has led to the Sengol becoming center stage insofar as India's new parliament building is concerned. You think this is a matter of history versus civilization? Is it a matter of record versus sentiment? The kind of politics we have seen panning out over the last 1 week since the Sengol story came out with the announcement by the central government. Is it really about sentiments more than history or anything else, or records or anything else?
Well, is history not also sentiment? History also gives us sentiments in life, and it gives a certain emotional content to our life. And it's a historic moment, a time when every Indian must be feeling taller with pride and pray for the golden era of Bharat.
Yeah, golden era of Bharat, you said. But the kind of criticism that has happened of the Sengol ceremony, ma'am, you think the opposition is misplaced in its position that they have taken? Also, if you can take us back to the time when you picked up this story from Tughlaq, I believe, and then brought this to the attention of the Prime Minister. And when you did that, what was the first response from the Prime Minister?
Well, I must say that I didn't get a reply immediately from the Prime Minister's office. It took some time, probably because they were doing some research to see what kind of evidence they get for whatever has been said in the article and in my translation. And Ministry of Culture, through the IGNCA, had done the spade work, and they found enough evidence, and that's how this is now just not taking some space in the 75th year celebration of our independence, but Sengol has a permanent place. It's like amending what was, almost a sin that was committed for 75 years, not caring for a very holy object, I call it holy because not only because of any religious connotation, but it is extremely important to record history, and this is a symbol of the transformation of power from the British Raj to the Indian government, and this should have taken a right place in the history books. I never studied, I am a student of history, but I never had a chance to see it mentioned in any history book, even in Tamil. So I feel extremely elated that my letter triggered to such extent that the Sengol is finding the right place in the new parliament building. Probably it will inspire generations of members of parliament to be honest, straight, uncompromisingly straight, like the straight rod that you see in the Sengol.
Yeah, and this interesting bit of information that you are sharing, ma'am, the fact that when you brought it to the notice of the Prime Minister's office, the response was not immediate or political. There was a due diligence that was put in place. There was proper research that was done on this subject, and subsequently a decision was taken that yes, this is a crucial piece of history missing from our living memory, and that it needs to be restored.
Yeah. It was not as though somebody was very keen on bringing out something in a, just to catch the eye of the public and make use of it in a different way with some hidden agenda. It was not like that. A proper research had been done on the evidences, and that's how it has stood the time, stood the misgivings of people, not understanding. I think there has not been proper understanding of the whole thing. Those who are against it today are going to be sitting inside the parliament. It's not as though they can avoid the parliament forever. And even if they don't want to look into the significance of the object, there are so many beautiful artifacts around. Are they not going to have a sense to enjoy, a piece of art to the eyes? And like music, when you listen to music, whether you understand or not is not important. But if you have a sense for music, you enjoy music. So even take it as as a symbol, or that was given 75 years ago, and it is part of history. So there's nothing more to grieve about or be angry about. No suspicion is necessary.
That's a very crucial aspect of the story you are bringing out, ma'am, that there was no politics involved. You as a citizen picked up this from a Tamil press publication, and then you forwarded it to the Prime Minister's office, which did its due diligence. There was no political thought to it. And then after due diligence, a thought came that, yes, this is something which should be brought back center stage, and that's why it was done. So it was not the kind of political narrative that's being pushed by the opposition on a certain Hindu agenda being brought in through the Sengol. On that note, thank you so much, Ms. Padma Subramaniam, the artist from Chennai, Tamil Nadu, who brought Sengol first to the notice of Prime Minister's office, which has led to finally the Sengol finding its rightful pride of place in the new Lok Sabha building. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. On that note, a short break. On the other side, we go back to the actual inauguration ceremony of the new Parliament building.
For 6 years, you've trusted Republic TV with breaking news, views, and debates. For the very first time, we're bringing #1 news brand on digital. Stay tuned for Republic Digital this July.
A new era of truly international premium schooling is coming to India. Harrow School in the UK, over 450 years, has educated numerous prime ministers, Nobel laureates, royal families, and prominent figures in arts, sciences, and business. Harrow International School is now opening as the most premium co-ed day and boarding school of India in Bengaluru. For admissions to grade 6 onwards, visit harrowbengaluru.in.
कलाम साहब से मिलना होगा सर, डॉक्टर एपीजे अब्दुल कलाम साहब.
Of course, Kalam has been my guru for almost 25 years. I had known Kalam as project director of SLV-3 when he was in the Department of Space. तो हमारे पास उस जमाने में एक रशियन मिसाइल हुआ करता था, SAM-2. हमने अपना इंजन लिया और वो SAM-2 में उसको इंटीग्रेट किया. तो हम श्रीहरिकोटा रेंज से जाके हमने 1982 में जब कलाम साहब आए तब टेस्ट किया. So that was the first time I interacted with Dr. Kalam.
Ever since we launched in 2017, we've been India's #1 news channel, and then we became India's #1 news network. Today we operate the #1 channels in English, in Hindi, and in Bangla, and we're going to expand across India and hopefully very soon to the entire world. Now this journey cannot be complete without us entering the digital news medium in a stronger, effective and well-planned way. And I'm delighted to share with you, with all of you, our support base, our viewers, our followers, and people who are really part of Republic, that yes, Republic, India's #1 on television, is now coming on digital. This July, Republic will be on digital.
ये जो साइंटिस्ट का सफर है, ये कहाँ से शुरू हो गया?
Right from the beginning, I wanted to do something in aeronautics, something where I can exercise my hobby to launch rockets or do aircraft. मुझे flying objects से बहुत प्यार था. Then I consulted and I realized if I really want to do aeronautics and also rockets, DRDL is the right place to join. Immediately after completing my project work and finishing my Viva, next day I took a train and came to Hyderabad and joined.
All right, welcome back, and we continue our build-up to the inauguration ceremony of the new Parliament building, which would be done a while from now by the Prime Minister in the presence of dignitaries and, of course, the entire nation watching the momentous occasion. We are joined in by PKD Nambiar, political analyst, also Abhijit Iyer Mitra. But we were having this conversation, Mr. Chakrabarti, with you earlier about Prime Minister Modi's legacy when it comes to socio-cultural infrastructure. The small thing of, for example, renaming the Rajpath as Kartavya Path, among others. We take this conversation forward and talk about today's dedication of the Parliament and particularly the placement of Sengol inside the Lok Sabha chamber as part of the larger philosophy or thought of the Prime Minister of center staging the civilizational ethos of India into India's modern day life.
I think as a Tamilian and as an Indian, I'm really proud of what has been done today. And they put a lot of thought into this also. See, if you look at the original, Sengol was given only by the Tiruvavadurai Adinam. But today they've called all the other Adinams as well. So they've kept it very broad-based, which is the right way to do it. Also, the reason for singing the Kolarapadigam is important. There are close to 790 or more Tevaram hymns, but they chose this one because it goes back to a historical concept. That many astrologers on the eve of independence pointed out that if we got our independence during the day, it would be disastrous for the country. I guess Pakistan ignored it, which is probably why they are where they are today, but which is why we chose freedom at midnight. And the Kolarapadigam was composed by the Saint Triyana Sambandha, when people told him not to travel because of the harmful effects of the Navagraha or the 9 planets at that moment. So the Kolarapadikam is actually about saying if your heart is pure, if your intentions are good, if your deed is honorable, if you are following Dharma, none of the 9 planets, nothing in this world, either divine or ordinary, either living or non-living, can stop you from achieving success. So the choice of the words is very important here. And also what is beautiful is the Kolarapadikam is sung in a pun, not a raga but a pun, which is the Tamil way of music. And the raga for Kolarapadikam is typically derived from the Hindustani raga Navroz. So there's Tamil from the south, there's a raga from the north. It's very beautifully done, very syncretic tradition of India, which is the way it should be done. So I think all of these are symbols to put Tamil, to put Tamil Nadu, to put the south indeed back in the spotlight, equal with the north and with the east and the west as well.
Yeah. Abhijit, you see, the fact that Prime Minister, when he lands from his Asia Pacific tour, the first address he makes at the airport itself talks about how the kind of pride he felt when he dedicated the Papua New Guinea local language version of Thirukural there when he was there. Prime Minister sort of was the motivation or gave the idea of the Kashi Tamil Sangamam, similarly the Saurashtra Tamil Sangamam. And today when he dedicated or gave that Sengol to the Lok Sabha chamber, he spoke about how Tamil culture is integral to what constitutes India's unity. So Prime Minister is making a big outreach in terms of bridging the north-south divide, and it's being opposed, ironically, by same set of people who accuse North of sort of colonizing the South.
But why is that surprising? See, the political agenda is to keep a sort of separate nationality, create this sort of sense of a separate nationality in order to buck all India trends. Now, you go back and look at the Chora emperors. When they go and conquer Bengal, Rajendra Chora brings back water from the Ganga and names his new capital Gangaikonda Chorapuram. Right, which is one of the 4 great Chora temples out there. So there was always this belief that Tamil Nadu was always part, in those days Chora Mandala was always a part of this Indian cultural whole. So many of the Jyotirlingas and things like that are in Tamil Nadu. So it has always culturally been part of India, which has always been sort of the BJP's platform, that there may be linguistic divisions, there may be idea divisions, but ultimately, culturally, we are the same people. And that is exactly what was done. Notice what happened in the ceremony, the visuals of which are showing at the moment. The Shengol, and it's very telling that the Shengol was chosen, that the announcement was made when the Prime Minister comes back from his Asia Pacific trip, highlighting what? Remember, the Chora Navy was the paramount navy of the Indian Ocean at that point of time. They did the first long-range power projection at that particular point, where they, went to... Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Abhijit, just asking you to stop for a bit your flow of thoughts. We are getting first pictures live from inside the Parliament House, the new Parliament House, the Lok Sabha chamber, which is going to develop as Central Hall also because of its huge capacity, which can seat over 1,200 plus people. And we are seeing the invitees, the dignitaries, the guests taking their seats, taking their place before the ceremony begins. Former Speaker Sumitra Mahajan, for example, in the pictures, among others, most of the sitting Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha members, of course, apart from former President Ramnath Kovind being greeted by Piyush Goyal, the Union Commerce Minister, and among others, former Prime Minister H.D. Deva Gowda in the pictures. I can see Union Home Minister Amit Shah being greeted by other members of Parliament. Remember, Mohan Bhagwat of the RSS, I can see. No, it's not Mohan Bhagwat. So, these are some of the dignitaries and guests invited, including, of course, the opposition, which has chosen to absent itself almost 21 political parties that have decided to boycott the ceremony. And these are pictures we are getting from both inside and outside the Parliament House. We are waiting for the Prime Minister to arrive and for the formal event to begin. If I could give a sense of what's exactly going to happen minute by minute for the benefit of viewers who are joining us now. Prime Minister arrives anytime now, and with the dignitaries seated on the dais, the event begins exactly at 12:05, which is about 15 minutes from now. The national anthem plays out at 12:07. Then there is a welcome address by the Honorable Deputy Chairperson of the Rajya Sabha at 12:10 p.m. After 7 minutes at 12:17 p.m., there would be a screening of two movies back to back. Those movies, one in Hindi and English, are essentially on the history of parliamentary democracy in India and the place of the parliament, both the old and the new, in the scheme of things. And that should clear some doubts, at least of the opposition, hopefully. And then at 12:29, after 12 minutes of the screening of those two movies, at 12:29 p.m., we're going to see messages read by the Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha, of the President of India and the Vice President of India. After which we are going to have an address by the Leader of Opposition in the Rajya Sabha. You'll have to see whether Mallikarjun Kharge really comes or not. And then there is an address by the Speaker of the House of the Lok Sabha at 12:43 p.m. After which the Prime Minister would be releasing a coin, a commemorative coin and a commemorative stamp, postal stamp, to mark the occasion. The coin would be of ₹75 denomination and the stamp also. And then there would be an address by the Prime Minister to mark the occasion and formally dedicate to the nation the new Parliament building, and that's going to be at 1:10 p.m. After which, once the Prime Minister ends, there would be a vote of thanks by the Secretary General of the Lok Sabha, and that's how the event really pans out. We are waiting for the Prime Minister to arrive, even the invitees there in the Lok Sabha chamber of the new Parliament building gather. Coming back to the conversation, let me go to PKD Nambiar on that note, and we have one more guest joining us. PKD Nambiar, you think the opposition has really missed out on an important opportunity to at least have their pictures on the day, when if in future, not immediately, if later in future sometime they come to power, they could have reflected upon this moment and seen themselves in the pictures and have had a sense of ownership to the new Parliament and hence to the future political destiny of the country, a stake in it. At least they could have visually connected with that.
Just imagine, after a few days from now, the monsoon session of the Parliament is going to start. The people who are called that it's the radical Brahmanic, from the Brahmins of Tamil Nadu have come and performed the puja of Samajwadi Party, or the Tejasvi Yadavs, the people who have called it's a coffin kind of a design. Just imagine how their MPs will just walk into this massive pride of India, the new Parliament building. Just imagine how they will be able to get into the Parliament and sit next to the people. I think they have already lost it. They have lost a big opportunity of being part of the celebration of the nation. Ever since morning, I think we have all been talking about these things, that the whole country is celebrating. Each one is taking this as a pride for themselves. And in that kind of a moment, the major opposition parties are abstaining from such kind of an inauguration without even having a real reason for them. I think it's all about their frustration. They have not been able to do it 50, 60 years of their rule. They could not come up with a massive building or a futuristic or a technologically advanced, cultural value system imbibed building. They could not create it. Today they are feeling the heat that यार हमने नहीं कर पाया, अब ये दूसरा कर रहे हैं, वो मोदी जी इसका सारा credit लेके जा रहे हैं. But in 2.5 years time, if Indian Parliament building has been made only just a mere 1,200 crore rupees, Imagine, Abhishek, what all these 70, 75 years we have lost, not even able to build a parliamentary building of our own. I think it's a remarkable day, and the most important thing is that it is not just a celebration, but bringing the cultural values, north, south, west, east, doesn't matter. Bharat Varshe, Bharat Kante, that really is the essence of our ancient history. We are not just born in 1947, but we are actual real Sanathan Dharma believing people, and our value system is truly Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is what it's today is being proved. And the most important part of today is that bringing all the saints from the Sengol, which we were talking about in our language, it is called a Sengol. So that is coming all the way and being a part of it. And we are today talking about the righteousness, dharma. And that too in the parliament building inauguration. Isn't it something very great? We have never talked about in our Indian parliamentary system the dharma or Raj Dharma or all those stuff. I think the Prime Minister Modi is on his real Kartavya path. And I think that Kartavya path, he is unstoppable. Yeah. And even an opposition is just confused, frustrated, not know how to speak, what to react. Yeah. What is happening today is something which we have never seen in the past. At least I'm 45. I have never seen something like this in the past 45 years of my life. Abhishek.
Yeah, PKD, yeah. We have a very contextual guest, I would say, Rajalakshmi Joshi. She's an architect and she joins us live. Ms. Joshi, we have had a tweet from RJD, official Twitter handle of the RJD party, putting a picture of a coffin next to the new parliament building and sort of suggesting that the design looks similar. It's preposterous. It's condemnable that someone in the RJD would think along those lines. But, we have been talking about the old parliament building, the design of which was taken from the Chausat Yogini temple in Morena, Madhya Pradesh, by the architects at that time, Herbert Baker and others. So, this new parliament building, as an architect, what is your sense? What does this design really signify?
Good morning, Abhishek. And, this is a very momentous, historic day. And this tweet by the RJD is an absolute, bad taste. I have absolutely no words to say, it's an abomination. How low the political discourse has fallen. And, I just can't imagine how they could have actually compared this design with that of a coffin. I mean, I don't think anybody else could have imagined that. It's what they have in their mind. And it's probably that it's just a sign of things to come that probably they don't visualize themselves getting into the new parliament. I could only look at it that way. In the earlier old parliament, it was all as per Victorian standards. It was as per European design, and in fact, even the rituals at that time was as per their standards. And today, what we have, I would say, it is more of a Vedic architecture, more of it's a combination of all things that are Indian actually. So it is actually bringing together all the different aspects from all over India. And it has very beautifully incorporated everything from all across the country. Even in the kind of materials that have been used, if you look at it minutely, each and every corner of India has been covered in the kind of materials that have been used. They are not just green materials, that is eco-friendly materials. There has been a lot of thought to how all these materials are incorporated and in a very beautiful way. So, from the point of view of design, I would say that a lot of thought has been given to all the different spaces, all the different aspects, all the structural aspects, even the security aspects and all the services, like if you look at how all the seats and the kind of facilities they have, everything has been very well thought of and very well planned. The one very crucial aspect was, in the old parliament building, there were very, grave security concerns, not just from the point of view of the literal security. I'm talking about even the fire safety and all those kind of hazards also. Because, and even the earthquake resistance also. At that time, it was not, Delhi was not in that kind of a grave, it was in the zone 2, I assume, and now it is in zone 4. So, a lot of all these aspects have been taken care of, and even the security, like when there was this parliament attack, at that time, those reports which were not really disclosed to everybody, they actually brought out a lot of problems which the security personnel had to face because of the way in which it was designed. And obviously at that time, there was not much thought given to all these aspects. Terrorism was not such a big factor at that time. But today, all those aspects have been taken care of. We cannot actually get into those details, but all of them have been taken care of. And today, if you actually look into it, all those, the comfort, the security, and even the thought being given to the, like I spoke about, the environment friendly materials. Now, just look at it, the minuteness with which all of this has been thought. Even the sand that was used, it was not actually sand. It was not the original sand that causes an environmental impact to the riverbed or to the seabed, but this was actually the manufactured sand, that is by crushing of stone. So that, so this actually, you can imagine the detail to which this has been thought of, and how everything has been very well planned and everything has been taken care of. And I think it is a matter of great pride.
All right, Rajlakshmi, hold on to your thoughts. We are getting pictures of Prime Minister's car kit arriving, passing through the Vijay Chowk and then entering inside the Parliament just in moments. Prime Minister's car kit has arrived at the Parliament complex to inaugurate, with the Prime Minister there to inaugurate the new Parliament building. Pictures coming in live from Vijay Chowk area of the Rayasena Hill, the North Block and the South Block in the backdrop as the carcade made its way from Lok Kalyan Marg via the Vijay Chowk. These are pictures of the Vijay Chowk, security arrangements in place. That's from where we generally report proceedings of the Parliament House, and that will continue to be the practice. And the carcade has made its way inside the Parliament complex. We'll see just in a while Prime Minister being received there by the Speaker and Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha and Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, the presiding officers of the two houses. They are there in the gallery to receive the Prime Minister as the Prime Minister arrives as per protocol. And from there they would be going in a procession inside, and then the proceedings would begin. That's the Prime Minister's carcade inside the Parliament House now. That's the Prime Minister's carcade inside the Parliament House now, the new one in the backdrop. And as it slow walks, the SPG slow walks the Prime Minister's car into the lobby, into the foyer actually, from where now we can see the car has arrived and the two presiding officers, Speaker of the Lok Sabha and Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Let's go to Shravan Sen. He's there outside the Parliament, in fact, from where these pictures are coming in live. Shravan, over to you.
Well, in fact, we're just reporting from the rear side of the Parliament. Not very sure, Abhishek, you'll be able to see much of it. We'll probably have to cut across to the visuals that are basically coming in from the agencies because that gives you a direct view of the Parliament as well as the dignitaries who would be entering. As you were pointing out, as per the schedule, the dignitaries had already arrived around 11:30 this morning, and the Prime Minister finally coming in, and the proceedings thereafter essentially begins. But while all of this is happening, we've had a lot of commentary taking place by political leaders outside the Parliament. In fact, we spoke to a few of the BJP leaders who are basically coming out, and most of them speaking in one voice and saying that this is a historic opportunity that was lost by none other than the opposition parties. They were certainly hoping that the 20 political parties that have boycotted, they would participate in it. But today, when that image basically comes out post 3 o'clock, you would only have some of the parties participating in it. And in the annals of history, remember, that is going to be seen as a lost opportunity even for the opposition parties. Most of them that we spoke to a short while back